bit.
South African survivor specialists Alexa and Robert are back. Happy day after Easter for those who celebrate, and happy goodbye, pretty darn good villain day to us. Tevin is out.
Unfortunate. We really liked Tevin. I really liked Tevin at least.
I thought he was fun. I thought he was a fantastic villain, so I am definitely upset to see him gone this early.
Yeah, well, I wonder who's going to take the role of the good villain from now on, because we have some bad villains, which is cool. Tom is still getting the short end of the stick. He's still acting all like Tom. But yeah, Tevin's gone.
Tevin is gone. PK will be the guy we talk about quite a bit tonight. This tribal council was very, very weird. But I think we're seeing we've been seeing, I think, a lot of modern Survivor gameplay, but I think this episode was the epitome of I'm making a move because I need to do something different. And PK is literally saying that when he's choosing to get rid of Tevin. And we can talk about whether or not we think this is a good move or a bad move, in the moment. Obviously, we don't know what happens next, but certainly shook things up a bit.
Yeah, definitely perhaps some big move-itis that we got going on here, but it was fun to watch, so that's cool.
I thought it was fun, and I thought, I don't want to get into the tribal council too much, but it's just, this is exactly the way that you want someone like Tevin to go out. I wish it went a little later, but he was a good sport about it, and I think at the end of the day, that's why he was such a good villain. He was I'm just gonna go out here and be that.
It's just a game of Survivor, I'm gonna do what I can, and if they get me, then they get me, and if not, then maybe I'll win.
And they sure got him.
They did get him. They did, in fact, get him.
They got him. But to Robert's dismay, Tony's name came up a whopping 3 times this episode, all within the first 15 seconds. And I was saying this before we went live, I kind of forgot that John is around. She was such a active part of the first 2 episodes, and now I feel like she's not so respected in her alliance. I don't even know if she's really in an alliance, but Luzon has a whole new tribe, because half the tribe has changed, and John is just talking about how she wants to get rid of Tony at the merge, and Werner is having a meltdown about it.
Yeah, I mean, I think John and Werner's relationship is really interesting, because they've kind of been at odds with each other, and now they're being kind of forced to work together. So watching them interact is always a treat.
It's like a brother and a sister who don't quite like each other, but they genuinely are stuck together. They're in quarantine together, and they do actually have a ton in common, but they really have no one else except for each other.
Right. So watching them interact, and John's Werner, I got to deal with him again. And then they were both close with, they both say they were close with Tony before the swap happened, and then now they're oh, I guess both of our number ones aren't here, so we're gonna go with each other's number 2, which is each other. I guess that works.
Yeah, so. It's we're defaulting to each other, which is a little sad, but I think it works because Annalise, I really feel I don't know a lot.
Got another confessional from her today.
Right at the
beginning.
It was quite exciting. And I mean, that's huge for her, because maybe this John's discussion of trying to vote out Tony at the merge will bother Werner, so could work in her favor, but who knows? But I think there's a lot to be said about your girl Tony. Everyone thinks she's their number 1. John thinks that, Werner thinks that, and Josie took her to Mindanao. So a lot of people are sticking their claws in Tony.
Yeah, and PK was oh, I gotta talk with my girl Tony.
Yes, and she breaks up with Werner. She's moving all over the place, and I think this is working out for her. But I do think it's very funny where it's a good cut of John is oh, well, we've got to get Tony out at the merge, and then we go over to Mindanao, and Tony pretty much tells Josie to her face that she made the wrong choice by bringing her over.
Yeah, so funny. I mean, there was a thing with Jean earlier saying yeah, we got to make sure that Tony doesn't run her mouth or something, and I was that doesn't really happen. And then we get the scene of Tony being Josie, you shouldn't have took me, and it was all right, I get it, that's fine.
Yeah, that definitely makes sense. Yeah. But yeah, I think I do like Tony, because I think she's kind of no BS, and sometimes it comes off as kind of jerky, but I mean, she's right. I mean, but Josie wouldn't have known that. Josie wouldn't have known how tight, that everyone on Mindanao was close except for 2 people.
Right.
So I think she just picked the person she trusted the most. So, but clearly this ends up working out just fine for Josie. But in the moment, poor Josie is like, I literally can't do anything right for the past like 3 weeks.
Right. I mean, as long as you're still in the game, I'm sure you're doing something right. You know, there's something to be said about surviving for as long as she has.
Definitely. And she has survived 28 years. It was Josie's 28th
It was her 28th birthday today. Yeah.
And no better way to celebrate your 28th birthday than by a male player telling you that you are both pretty and smart, and that just is not okay. And that is what Tevin.
Yeah, and that's why we have to get rid of her. Like, yes. What are you talking about?
Great quote. He goes, "She scares me. She's pretty and smart." Which I know it's just like, it's the whole like Survivor thing, but Parvati Shallow has transcended continents at this point. Like, he's not going to like make a reference to Parvati, but it's really just amazing how little like a woman player has to do to become a threat. Yeah,
I mean, it works because she is, I guess, pretty and smart. So like, you know, that's true. But also like, she hasn't really done anything besides survive. So it's like, I guess if you want to look at it that way, Tevin, like, you know, that's cool, but you're kind of just wrong. So, you know, whatever.
Yeah, and she hasn't. I like her, but she hasn't done
I do like her.
Particularly of interest. She did a hole and didn't find an idol, but I think
to be fair, like, people have been voted out for dumber reasons.
That is very true.
You know, and I guess you could make the argument that Tevin coming up with any reason at all, even if it isn't that true, you know, like, maybe that's just what you need. If you're just like, oh, let's get rid of the pretty smart person, then like, maybe people will buy it and then they'll get voted out. So who knows?
Yeah, exactly. Who knows? So he also has another great quote. He's like, whoever I consider beautiful must leave as soon as possible.
Yeah, so funny.
And you see him like laughing as he's saying it. So I feel like people could watch this and be like, this guy's such a D-bag. I think he like knows he's being hilarious. I thought it was funny.
It was like the first part of like, we have to get rid of her because she's funny and she's pretty and smart. I'm like, all right, that's kind of weird. And then he's like, we have to get rid of everybody attractive. And I'm like, all right, yeah, he's definitely leaning into it. Like, you got it at that point, right?
My pen is out of ink. Okay. Yeah, it's going to be Tevin and a bunch of very, very objectively unattractive people at the end. But joke's on everyone. Hot people have stayed. Tevin is gone. Though I did think Tevin.
Maybe that means that Tevin's attractive because he was eliminated, you know?
Exactly.
I was just a meta play. He's like, anyone that is attractive is going to get eliminated. I'm the first person eliminated. Therefore,
he's like Zayn knighting himself. Like, I am hot, so I will I will be a good sport about going home because I am good looking.
Yeah, exactly. He's a big brain. He's too smart for Survivor. Actually,
he big brain Survivor. He broke the game.
He broke the game. Yeah.
So there's like, at this point, there's no talk of Tevin going home, but this is a very good collective Tevin boot episode because he is on top of his confessional game so far.
Oh yeah, definitely. For better and for worse.
For better and for worse. So we go to the reward challenge, and they are kind of barrel racing. And I actually really liked this challenge. This is something that we've never seen before. It looked really, really hard. Like, someone as gigantic as Tom being like pulled on that little pulley seemed
just like crawl, like going like one little step at a time, like try not to fall off.
Yeah. So cool reward challenge. You'd like do the barrel roll, and then I didn't realize this, but it's pretty much like a floor is lava kind of game. Like, you barrel roll, then you turn the rolls into,
and then you get the puzzle pieces. And then I really like when they do the puzzles that like, it's like a vertical aspect of like how you're physically constructing the puzzle also, as opposed to just like you put it in the slot, right? So that puzzle at the end was really cool. So I really like this reward challenge.
I like those kind of puzzles because you like have to start from like the bottom, because you can't just like have one floating. You have to actually build off it.
Right, because gravity exists.
Gravity. You can't. Yeah. Anyways. So Mindanao wins this. Is there anything I missed here?
Well, there was the pizza and then the beans.
And John is like, are these coffee beans? And Nico is like, they are standard beans.
They're just regular beans. Yeah.
These are beans for food consumption.
Yeah.
What would you pick in this situation?
Well, Nico is like, hey, this is for your long-term survival. But it kind of didn't look like that many beans, you know? Like it
No,
definitely felt like you would get more out of like more calories out of the pizza than you would out of the beans. So I
right.
guess I'd probably still go with the pizza. You know,
I
because
would
at some point you're just losing calories, like X amount of calories per day, and you want it just at more calories, like bigger number is better. So
Yeah, just
I
like
don't
I
know.
don't know. Also, for what it's worth, I thought this pizza didn't look too bad.
It looked okay. It looked fine.
It looked like I probably wouldn't eat. I have very high pizza standards as a fake New Yorker.
New Yorker,
Like
yeah.
I feel like I wouldn't eat Survivor pizza, but this actually looked like good pizza, and you got a lot, so it didn't feel instant
Yeah,
gratification.
you did.
Two pizzas.
It
The
looked
one,
like it was like a really nice like flatbread pizza or thin crust pizza, but then it got really soggy and then it wasn't like crunchy anymore. But like it's still like, you know, yeah, who hasn't eaten like 2 day old pizza out of their fridge and hasn't
yeah,
microwaved it before? Like that's what it
exactly.
was. It was just, you know, some old pizza. That's fine.
Which is where Tony really, I think this is Tony's shining moment.
This was so weird.
She talks about, she like deeply describes how she is going to save her pizza up until the immunity challenge. Tell me about this? This is your girl.
I don't know. I'm not like a chef or anything. I don't think food
We watched
preserves
Chef's
that way.
Table.
Yeah, Chef's Table is a great show. Side plug, but I don't think you can just keep. I mean, maybe you can keep the crust. I don't know. I would have just eaten it. I think whatever. She was like, I'm gonna make some sort of soup and then eat the crust with that. Like, what are you
She's
doing,
gonna make a
man?
broth out of. She's like gonna eat the pizza, and then she's going to make a broth. Like the next day, she's either going to make a broth out of the pizza,
Which
which
doesn't
is
make any sense.
style, or a broth out of whatever they normally do, and
Yeah.
then dunk the pizza crust. Because I don't like crust, but I do love dunking crust in ranch dressing. So maybe this is as close as they can get to
I mean, ranch is so good. I mean, that's like half
it's
the
so
reason to eat
good.
pizza, you know?
Yeah.
Shout out
It's
to
what,
anyone in the Midwest that likes ranch. I know that's a very Midwest thing.
oh, that is true. I think everybody likes ranch. Or maybe. I don't know.
Well, okay, actually, it's unrelated question. Ranch or blue cheese on your wings?
Okay, with wings, I'm so glad you asked this. With wings, I like both.
But if you had to choose one.
I'm usually not in that position. It used to be ranch because for a while I didn't like blue cheese. I have graduated. I'm an adult.
Okay.
Blue cheese.
We are
like
on the same page. Blue cheese. No one likes to admit it. Blue cheese is great. And I agree that you get both because you want to like try them out. You know, it's
you want to try both. But
Anyways.
I wouldn't dip my pizza crust. I wouldn't dip pizza crust in blue cheese.
No, that would be weird. Yeah.
My God, that would be disgusting.
That would be so strange. All right, cool. I just wanted that on record, on the internet, on video, just in case I needed to reference it later.
Thank you so much. Yes, make sure to tell that if we ever get wings together and I order ranch instead of blue cheese.
Oh yeah, that would be so funny. Hold
It's
on,
also
just a second.
maybe this entire point is moot because maybe neither of these exist in South Africa. I didn't think about that until right now. I'm sure they think ranch dressing is a disgusting American thing, which it is, and we're proud.
Yeah, probably, but whatever. You know, they have their weird world famous barbecue I've never heard of. So you know.
Oh yeah, and the steer burgers, whatever they were.
Yeah.
So anyway, so Tony is a genius / psychopath. Now we go to Visayas for like the one and only time this episode. I think this is our first episode where Palesa doesn't have a confessional.
Yeah, it was, I think.
It was. It was very upsetting because I love her. However, she and everyone are so petty that they consider throwing the challenge just because they don't want Tom on the jury.
Yeah, that was like, I mean, I guess if you're talking about jury management, right? Like you don't want people on the jury that like, you know, probably don't like you. But like if you're just like, screw him, he doesn't, you know, let's not give it to him. Like that's a lot. That's kind of harsh.
That is kind of harsh. And they're all in on this. Like we get Vusi kind of being the one to narrate this, which he hasn't been much of a narrator. And they're like Shanae is over Tom.
Oh yeah. Well, we get that scene. There was like a little scene. I think this was after the reward challenge where they're like cooking the fish, and then Shanae comes up to Tom and is like, "Hey, can I help you out? Can I just like remove some of these fish bones?" And Tom like freaks out and he's like, "You're gonna kill us!" And it's like, you're not gonna die from eating, like we're not like dogs that can't eat chicken bones or whatever. But was also
little fish bones. Like
yeah, you just like, oh, there's a fish bone in my mouth. I'm gonna not eat it. Right.
awful.
But was very interesting that I didn't realize until I did research during the episode is that English is not the most commonly spoken language in South Africa.
You
I don't know what
read my mind. I was going to ask if you knew what language they were speaking.
I have no clue what language. If someone in the comments on the live comments knows what they're doing or what language they're speaking,
Google this today too. Like, what's the?
Well, so yeah, it's English is the fourth most commonly spoken language of South Africa. Not even second.
You the top 3, or did you just know that?
Well, so the top 3 were it was Zulu, like Johas or something. I'm butchering that completely, and then Afrikaans. So it's probably one of those 3, or we're just super lost and never gonna find it out.
We are very lost. Afrikaans was going to be the only one that I guessed because I know of that language. I actually
I know that the language exists. Yeah, that second one, like Zolas, never heard of it ever. So
well, it was killing me because it was really cool. They were having this fight. He's like flinging fish bones at her, insulting her like
in a different language. Yeah,
English. Like sometimes he's speaking the other language and other times he's speaking English, all within the same sentence. And they're bleeping out his swears that aren't in English.
Yeah, that's actually so. There are many levels to that. Yeah,
there was a lot. It was very impressive editing, I would say.
Yeah, man, and then you have us dumb Americans that can only speak one language, while the rest of the world is like on 4 or 5 or something. Yeah.
I thought that scene was just hilarious because that was like probably one of the worst Tom scenes that we've seen, and it was just so. He was like, "You're effing it up," and she was like, "I'm doing nothing." Like he was.
I'm just trying to help out. Yeah, I felt bad. I did feel bad for Tom. He isn't irredeemable yet, but it is kind of rough.
That's the thing. He's just like. I think maybe I was saying this about Australian Survivor. Like, no one was actually mean. Like, there's a lot of like very mean spirited people who play American Survivor. Tom like is a good guy, but he just does so many. I don't think he realizes how rude he comes off.
Yeah, and he's just unaware, and maybe he's just hangrier than everybody else because he's a bigger guy and needs more calories or something. Like, I don't know.
It's really tough, but I'm just enjoying the Tom mess. And I mean, he obviously makes it to this episode. We are not yet at the merge, but I'm curious where this nets out because obviously, like, I don't think they directly try to throw the challenge. I think tell me what you think. It seems like more of a, if we lose, it's not the end of the world.
Yeah. I mean, I think if they wanted to lose that challenge, like they would have. I mean, maybe that like forgetting the buoy thing was intentional or something, but like
Tom really put the slack on that. I feel like this is a tough challenge to throw if one person's like gonna kill it at the buoy stuff.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, as we saw, Mindanao ends up like completely blowing the challenge and like doesn't even get to like the ball tossing part.
And Mindanao has been very good at challenges. They have won both in the 2-tribe format and the 3-tribe format. They've been really, really good. So for them to just completely blow this, but I also don't think that I don't particularly think that they threw this one either. So we're at Mindanao and PK, for whatever comes into his mind, he's like, I want to make a change. And this is definitely a case of big move, that move-itis, not in a bad way yet, but just I've been the number 2 and I don't really like that.
Right. And I think, and I still got a defender because it's my winner pick. But the first scene we see is Tevin and PK talking, and Tevin saying, we got to get rid of Tony. And then I was like, oh no, is Tony gonna get voted out? And then PK is like, nah, Tevin's been making too many of these decisions. I want to play for myself. So PK goes to Tony and is like, hey, we gotta get Tevin out instead. And something that I thought was really cool was during that conversation, and maybe this was edited differently, but when PK is talking to Tony, Tony is the first one to bring up that Tevin's like been bothering me. So like maybe Tevin's just actually so annoying, but like maybe Tony is like realizing, like is socially able to like figure out what PK is frustrated by and is able to like preempt that and like give him, like, make it easier for him to, because if you stick your neck with information first on Survivor, that's dangerous. But she's making it very easy for PK to come over to her side, and you see that Tevin keeps pushing PK away.
And it's really impressive that she was able to intercept what he was thinking before he even told her, because if like like suggesting that somebody gets rid of their best friend is a very usually not
Very dangerous.
supported,
Yeah, yeah.
not something to do. So I think it says a lot, and we really didn't see them being too tight on the original Mindanao tribe when it was only 2 tribes. So I think that showed a lot of really good awareness by her. And Tevin, like right before this, when he's talking with PK, he's like, well, maybe I should get rid of Tony because she and Werner have gotten too tight, and I haven't liked that. But Tony beats him to the punch and throws Werner under the bus before anything else.
And usually it's dangerous doing that, because if they were like in the merge or something, they just go to Werner and ask him, or be like, hey, Tony did this to you. But like Werner's not there. Like Tony can say whatever she wants about him and then goes back and is the first one to Werner and is like, hey, I did all this stuff, but we're cool now. We still got your 2 idols. Everything's fine.
Yeah.
And they can't try to follow her tracks. She doesn't need to. There are no tracks to cover. So
exactly. Yeah. What do you think about her telling PK about his second idol?
I mean, if it builds trust, I think it's fine. I mean, I don't really. I think we talked about this last time, but a second idol is just like it's so good that like you don't need to worry about like playing it in, and you don't have the decision of, oh, I don't want to play this and not get voted out, because you still have a second idol. So I think like in the same way that like having a second idol is good, like knowing about a second idol isn't that much better than knowing about the first idol.
Yeah, that's true. I thought it was interesting how quickly, because she didn't throw him under the bus necessarily, but she definitely put Werner in a situation where he's going to walk into this merge with a huge target on his back, because now the leader of his original alliance is gone, and now it is generally public information that he has 2 idols.
Right. And I think that it's like, sorry, my computer wants to update right now, and I'm going to tell it to update later. Remind me later. Thank you, Windows 10. Geez. All right. So I think it's fine. It's still fine for Werner, because like again, after this conversation, if this were a merge, then PK would go straight to Werner, and then like things would be blown up. But now Tony, like a lot, we've seen in Survivor, a lot can happen in 3 days. Maybe PK gets voted off. Maybe Josie and Tony are now best friends, and like now everything is fine. Maybe PK forgets, right? In like the panic of finding out that someone has a second idol. Usually that's when you go try to cross-reference that. But like you got time to figure it out. Like I think Tony's got time to play with, and she's making the most of that.
I think she did. I think she is too. And I think on Werner's side, he has like a quick confessional where he's like, crap, it's me and all the girls. And Annalise is like, you're such a man. Like, isn't it great to have a man around here? And he's like, please stop.
Please do not do this. Yeah. I do not want to be a leader. Yeah.
Yeah. Don't make it more obvious than it is that I am the only dude here. But John really has nowhere to turn. Annalise doesn't really have anywhere to turn. Who is the third person on the tribe, and why am I forgetting? The fourth person who's not Werner.
You think we'd be better at this?
How are we missing one person? It's a woman. Not Josie. No.
Katinka,
yes.
Katinka. Which she did kill it at the challenge. That's something we do have to say.
She was a beast. But
she was a beast.
Like all 3 of them don't really have anyone, so he can use the 2 idols or the 1 idol, whatever, as bargaining power. So it's not like people don't like him. I actually think everybody likes him, but I think I don't think he knows that he needs to build people up, but he has a really great opportunity to build people up.
Right. And it is way less scary. You know, I mean, I don't think that. I guess I can't say that I don't know that they're not going to tribal council, but like they've made it through. They made it through the past 2, right? That tribe.
Yeah.
No, just kidding. Annalise and Katinka lost the last immunity challenge. So I don't know. I think they're all like, there's no like one tribe that is like super good at challenges and is like really safe for now. But I do think Werner is more safe than he realizes. So.
I think so too. I'm curious to see where Tony ends up, like assuming this group, all these people get to the merge, how that's going to play out. I think it's going to be fun. But first, we need to give Katinka her due credit. She is a professional basketball player.
She's a professional basketball player. This is the moment we've been waiting for, to see what Katinka's all about. And it's throwing these whatever ball buoy things into a tube.
And that's like really hard. It seems harder than shooting a basketball because there's no backboard to like gauge off of. So
Right.
she is insane. The slow-mo shot of her
The slow-mo shots, I've been defending them. This one was weird, but that's okay.
I loved this one. I thought this was the best one because she was going to make it, but they still had to do it in slow-mo.
Yeah, very good. We'll have to do that would be like a good like a thing of like which slow-mo scene from South Africa Survivor is best.
I think presently between Katinka nailing the final shot or Jean just like jumping from
right
one
at the beginning, first episode. Yeah, just like
something that's very inconsequential.
Well, it's because that was also the first one, and you didn't know that was possible. Like
Yeah.
it's like I didn't know we could have slow motion in Survivor, but now the whole new world is open. Yeah, yeah.
But this challenge seemed tough, especially because you had to dive down, release the buoys, and then you had to like manually throw them really
very very physical challenge. I mean, we see that like Mindanao just like blows it and like doesn't even get close.
Blows it big time.
Yeah,
and I don't think they've all been good at challenges, and I think PK's like really athletic. I don't know. I think for whatever reason they just couldn't get it done.
Yeah, I mean, I think did everyone on Mindanao try to go get the buoys? Because I remember at least seeing Tony and PK go.
I think we do. I don't know if Tevin went for it because you see him like having a disappointed face, like, oh, why can't they get it? But I assume they all tried, and for whatever reason, this one's
and they just lost. Unfortunate.
Yeah, they lost big time. So Luzon wins, Visayas gets second, Mindanao loses. Somehow Visayas is like working,
still doing it. Yeah, they're still figuring it out.
Challenges, and they seem to just all hate one person.
Right.
So we're at camp, and we are now at the point where like Tevin is clearly going home. All of his confessionals are like, I can't imagine I would go home. Like this would never ever happen, which means that he's definitely going to go home.
Yeah, the classic Survivor editing. But what's weird is that we get, I don't know if it happened before Tribal Council or not, but we get there and like Tevin's like, yeah, the plan is to vote out Josie. We're staying blue strong. And I'm like, what? Like when did Josie become the target?
I think this was a very weird Tribal Council because I think you're right. Like, first of all, Tevin's in love with Josie, so obviously she must go. But you never see Tevin, Tony, and PK actually really talking to each other.
Right. The only thing that we get is from that conversation right at the beginning where it's like, we got to get out all the pretty people. Like that's all we really got of why we're getting Josie out.
Exactly. I don't think anybody doesn't like her, but it just seems like a red versus blue thing. Yeah. And this is a super weird Tribal Council because first of all, that's not the weirdest thing to say when it's 3 versus 1. What if Josie had an idol because she came from another beach? And then the line of questioning really reveals that PK is unsure of what to do, and PK like is deciding this in front of everybody verbally, and it's crazy.
Yeah, well, also like it's just like, why? Like, why are you like, oh, hey Tony, what are we doing? And then Tevin's like, are you voting me out? And it's like, yeah. What else would Tevin think?
It was I can't believe he did that. Like,
I guess it doesn't matter at all because PK would be close enough to Tevin to know that Tevin doesn't have an idol, right? But it's like why not just like, I remember Dom saying something about like, if you're the first person to go up to vote, and I guess maybe from the seating Tevin would be, just like when Tevin goes to vote, just say, hey guys, we're voting Tevin, Like there are ways to get around that, instead of like, I don't know what to do, it's the last minute.
Right. I think he was just really turmoiling over it, but did not like, and Tevin, I want to give him credit. Like he's very calm. Maybe he just realizes there's nothing he can do because the fact that PK spoke to anybody who isn't Tevin, like says that he's probably already betraying you.
Right.
That was just so, and he was like, you guys voting for me? Because of course they are.
Even after like just one question. Yeah. He was like, I guess that's it. Right. I mean, maybe it would have been nicer to see him fight a little harder because, it does kind of suck to just see him roll over and die, but I'm glad that he was, it's good to see people respect the good gameplay. So.
Yeah, totally. That being said, do you think this was a good move? We obviously don't know.
I would probably say no. I mean, yeah,
Yeah.
Tevin's annoying, but like if Tevin's gonna work with you and keep you safe, and now he's like your shield, right? Like he's still a number, right? It doesn't really matter. I mean, if it would be a problem if Tevin and PK got to the end together, but like at least for now, you can like ride out the waves a little bit.
Yeah, and I think it could have been, I think that like voting out your best friend thing can be a good move. And especially knowing that Tevin is someone who's a good sport about it, that would have looked a lot better in front of a jury for you. Like you would have had to
Not
get
even in front of a jury, but like if you are like voting out Tevin to be on the jury, now he's voting for
he's
you.
going to fight for you.
Yeah. I definitely interrupted you though. So what else were you saying?
No, but you read my mind on that. Like he would have had to get more people. Like all PK had to do was get Josie, who was going to do anything to stay alive, and Tony, who was like kind of in on the plan the whole time. It would have been a lot harder if he had to get like 5 people to all do this. Tevin not find out. I really think him asking the girls like what are we gonna do is bad gameplay, because what if Tevin has an idol? I know he like kind of can't because Werner has the blue idol, but that's just showing the person who you're voting out that you're going to vote them out. I think that was pretty sloppy.
Yeah, I mean, I guess it's sloppy, but like there was no like nothing bad happened, right? Because it's just like, Tevin was going to get voted out. And I guess you could argue that like, yeah, PK's making inroads with Tony and sorry, my brain went to Shanae for a second. I'm like, that's not the right person. Yeah, but with Tony and Shanae, or Josie. Jeez. All right. Yeah, but like it's still like you could argue that you're losing out on one ally but gaining 2. So I don't know. As long as they don't go to tribal council, that's probably a tight 3 until the merge. But that's also, you gotta make it to the merge first. So
yeah, that's a very good point. So Tevin goes home, which is very sad. And then what do we have for Katinka? Like she's the only thing I remember from the preview, and she's just toppling over in a challenge.
Yeah, I don't know what that was. I don't think I've ever seen like a human body like fall over in that way. So hopefully she's okay. I don't want injuries are never a good way to go out on Survivor. We did see also something about Tom like being sick and then Shanae like wanting food, but then Shanae throwing up or something. So I don't know what's going on over there, but it doesn't seem fun.
That was a little gross. I forgot about that.
Yeah, sorry.
I need to. I'm looking up who the cast member who we're missing is. The woman on Luzon who isn't John or Annalise.
Is it not Katinka?
Oh, it's Katinka, right?
Yeah, we are. Yeah, we got it.
We're like, this poor thing, we're completely distracted.
Sorry, Katinka. Yeah.
But she's trying. I think there's just no strategy with her, but I'm liking that we're getting we're
getting some fun moments now. Yeah, which is always that's what Survivor needs more of. So
yeah. Do you think they'll merge do you think they'll merge at the end of this episode or the beginning of the following episode?
So how many are we at left? It's
would have required us to do some math, which
12
is
left, right?
Yeah, so we're getting close to standard merge time.
I guess we don't know if it's a final 2 or a final 3, which would change things.
Oh, that is true. Yeah.
Actually, no, they said that they usually say that they're going to merge. So it's probably not a merge next time. So I could see a merge at 11. Seems reasonable.
Yeah. Polly Luce says Katinka is playing dumb. I would love that because
dude, that would be so good.
Nothing better than strategic mastermind Katinka.
Exactly. She comes out at the end and is like, all right, guys, I've been playing you all along.
You guys are making fun of me for fishing, but look at me now.
Yeah, I was actually finding an idol. And then you have there's like a B-roll of her with like 3 idols or something.
Step aside, Burner. You have 3 idols.
Yeah.
What other closing thoughts do you have on this episode?
I think that's all I really wanted to say about this episode. Again, I'm enjoying the season. It's pretty good. We got some fun gameplay.
I like just sloppy enough gameplay, but still exciting. I will miss Tevin. I hope that somebody can take his place as the likable villain. But
also as the strategist. Yeah.
Yes. I'm glad PK is coming into his own because I did kind of just think he was a puppet for Tevin, and he proved me wrong.
Yes, very much agree with that.
So yeah, so that was our recap of the 7th episode. We'll be back for the 8th episode. We're really like chugging along here.
After next episode, that's halfway.
Yeah.
Finale is the 16th, episode 16.
Yes.
So halfway there almost.
And we will watch the reunion. That will be looped in with the finale.
Oh, okay. I'm ready for it.
Yeah. I love the reunions, and I feel like for this one,
reunions are great, you know?
Yeah, and I feel like maybe they actually like put a little more effort into the reunions than we do. Yeah, perhaps. Yeah. So tomorrow night, Phil and I are going to be a bit on the later side. We're going to be podcasting at 10:15 Eastern, which is a very specific time. And we are talking about the Kelly Sharbaugh vote out. I tried to do vote out and boot in the same word. It's called Tastes Like Chicken. It's also when Natalie captures a rat of Survivor Samoa in our classic Survivor episode series. So tune into that. Become a patron at patreon.com/Survivor Specialist. Robert, as always, thank you for coming on and co-hosting.
Of course.
What else do you have?
Well, okay, so I want to do this like little bit at the end where we like keep talking, right? But we've tried